Hello, this is Steve, Dichroic Glassman. Wow, I picked up some awesome information today. Something that you glass workers might be able to utilize, especially if you're doing dichroic glass bevels and jewels. If you're part of my bevel program, great. Even if you're not part of my program, you'll still benefit by this information. Well, recently this tray was under my grinder in such a way that I did not realize I had a small leak, and this tray was filled with water. And you know, you might have had that happen before, or you bought a deal on eBay or such and such, or even yourself, if you left it in your grinder tray and it created watermarks. I could not get the watermarks off. In fact, for anything, I couldn't even steel wool them. It's kind of hard to see, and I didn't think the camera would pick it up. You do see some gunky stuff, but it's hard to tell. Well, my heart sunk because it was a bunch of dichroic jewels, and oh no. And as a result of this knowledge, for you subscribers to my bevel and jewel program, I want to say from this point on, I'm adapting this to my program. So here's the deal. I had all these watermarks, and I was frustrated. And I tried steel wool, I even tried denatured alcohol, and I even tried acetone. It got a lot of it off, but it did not get off the watermarks. Oh no, acid rain, you know, there's metal oxides in this, and anything can happen the way the air and the way the water is today. So in other words, I had some composites in the water that threw a stain, especially on my dichroic jewels. This does not have the luster that I'm accustomed to. And look at this big line. Where'd that come from? That's not a scratch. Well, anyway, that was another jewel laying on it. So I went over to Robert Stefan's house today. He told me, come on over, he's got something. Well, duh, why didn't I think of that? But Robert's been in the business for a long time, so he's been doing optical glass for quite a while. Prisms and orbs and just some amazing things. Robert Stefan of his Glassworks. So he told me about cerium oxide or whiting compound. And you're going to put your jewel or your glass that you're going to laminate into that and utilize some cerium oxide in this case, because I don't have any whiting. So let me set my camera down. So I'm going to get it wet. Duh, obviously. And I'm going to take a little bit of cerium oxide and just put a little bit on there. Literally, that's all you got to do. So from now on in my bevel program, I'm going to do this. Cerium oxide is finer, way finer than talc. Well, I don't know, talc is pretty darn fine, but cerium oxide is a polishing agent. So what a better thing to utilize. I did not know that. And then I'm going to dunk it into the water. You could use a sponge, kind of make it quicker altogether. Sponge gets off all the okay, let's see what that little boy looks like. I'm very pleased. Very bright. It brought back its luster. In fact, I almost swear it's shinier than it would have been otherwise. Well, I'm going to go in depth, more depth with it for the bevel and jewel program, but again, this is of some really good information. So where did I get these sponges? That was on the way home. And I came into a good buy. Don't generally go into Family Dollar. And this time I did, because I had a need for sponges, as Robert said. I just thought I would use the typical sponges that you get. These are good size. These are 1 inch. Inch thick. 1 inch by 3.5. No, it's longer than that. These are 6 inch by 3.5 inch by 1 inch thick. These are great sponges for $1. Dang. Well, I've utilized a lot of these type of sponges with my glass grinder, so I have the ability to maybe take one of these sponges and cut them out. Now I have a lot of sponges worth to utilize in my basic all-star grinder or your wizard. There's a lot of sponges in your. That was $2. Another good buy I got was the large sponges, where they have a scouring pad on one side. Great. I'm not going to use it on glass, but there might be another application. And this side, for $1, for 6 of them, I thought it was a really good buy. So you might want to grab some of those. This is really important too. I do use wire brushes. So they got 3 wire brushes for $2.50. That's about 83 cents each. Pretty good buy. So I was able to utilize that. I use a lot of these brushes. They're not easy to find. This is $1? Crazy. You get 4 or 5 of those. I use one for my flux. I use one for my polish. I use another one for polishing inside the cracks on my stained glass once it's finished with whitening compound. Who knew? So I had the solution all along, just didn't realize it. So if you got some bevels that you bought at a buy, they're kind of cloudy and you don't know what's going on with them, you might even try this method again with the cerium oxide. I got this at his Glassworks, that's right here. And it's got the percentage, particle 2.4. That's probably microns, millionths of an inch. And this is cerium oxide, and the other is whitening compound. It's a really good, fabulous update in my mind, utilizing this procedure now for future glass applications. Also, this one's a stunner. I saw Robert do this, and here's a piece of dichroic glass. This just blew me away. Get the glass wet, and when I saw him do that, it's all right, Robert, that's crazy. Isn't that going to dull the finish of the dichroic glass? Well, it's microns. I believe it's microns, that the particle size, which would be a millionth of an inch. So when I did that and started to, he cleaned it up, and voila, it was as though it was shinier. So one thing to keep in mind, folks, whether you're doing I don't mean to say just stained glass, but if you're doing stained glass and you've got some so-so jewels and you're bummed because of the clarity is not there for you, well, again, utilize this method. See if it works. It's not going to work in every single case, but it might give you more incentive to buy those if it does work out, or maybe that's really a good buy since you've seen some cloudy looking jewels. Now if the jewels are cloudy because they're sandblasted, so to speak, because they've been in a window and they're used, nothing's going to work as far as polishing them back up. I'm just talking about general, sit in your shop, oops, I left them in water for a week, or some water leaked on them, and this and that type of thing. You get the idea. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Bye-bye.